Brother Kwame, I really want your view on this. The above events have, surely impacted or shaped the African continent. And let me just take one event, for example, what happened in West Africa, in Mali, and Guinea and Burkina Faso. How do you think that has shaped the politics in the continent, regionally, both ECOWAS and at large Africa herself or itself?
Thank you, Mahlet. You've really outlined the events of 2022 and how they happened. I want to thank all our viewers who have joined us this evening in this discussion. We would like to reiterate our stand as Pan-Africanists that we are not the mainstream media whereby we are here to sugarcoat things. We really analyze things and we bring it out to you from a truly Pan-African perspective, and just like how an African would want to hear it. We are not people who are going to come here and sugarcoat things for you, but rather as true Africans. And there is a lot of things which shaped, a lot of events which shaped 2022. One of those being the African Union, of course, the African Union ordinary session, 35th session of the African Union Summit, which happened in March. I would like to touch a few of them, and through that speech, there's one speech actually which stood out for me during that session, that 35th ordinary session of African Union Summit. The speech which was given by Prime Minister Abiy of Ethiopia, it was very instrumental. I think people need to go out there and watch that speech. It was very Pan-African in its nature, and it attempted to mobilize the continent for the good of us all. And it is important that we pay attention to such speeches. We had a lot of coups, as Mahlet mentioned it. We had a lot of coups in the West African region. We have continued to see this. And this is not just coups, actually, but it is resistance of the people to colonialism. Even recently, there was another attempted coup in the Gambia. So it is an attempt by the African people to take back power from colonialism and neo-colonialism, which has been, which has attempted also to consolidate its position on the African continent. We have seen those events in Mali. We have seen in Burkina Faso. We have seen in Guinea, like I mentioned, Guinea Conakry. So also we had an attempted coup in Guinea-Bissau, which did not go through. And recently, which I mentioned, we had another attempted coup in the Gambia. So all these point to the resistance against France. As you all know, people have been mentioning that France is colonizing 14 countries across, this region, this West African region. And it is the same region where African countries have been resisting. So I believe that this resistance, which has come with this period, would continue even to shape 2023, which we have entered as the new year. Of course, there was an attempt by the other heads of state to demonize these coups and even put sanctions on countries like Mali and Guinea. But they have managed, Mali and Guinea and Burkina Faso together, but they have managed, these countries have managed to stay on course and hold their ground to make sure that the right thing is done, so that they continue to stand by the people. Because if you really analyze it very well, you could see that these these are coups which are have their origin within the demands for the people for security, demand for socio-economic development within these various countries where the coups happened. And for us to not to pay attention to these demands and the requirements that the people are asking for, these demands which people have, I think it would be unfortunate for organizations like ECOWAS and African Union to just come and put coups, to just come and put sanctions on them because a coup has happened. This becomes unfortunate. I think that AU and ECOWAS, together with the other regional bodies like East African Community, SADC, they need to, all of them, understand the conditions on the ground, come and analyze the conditions on the ground. What are these coups about? Instead of them ganging up with the neo-colonialists like France and the United States, who have loaded it on the African people for the last 600 years. So this doesn't really go very well with us as African people. So I believe that those coups which happened, they may continue from what I see, and those governments will continue to hold it strong as long as the socio-economic development is not achieved, and as long as the African continent is not unified into a single state. These problems are bound to continue to come up. So when you asked about how those coups have shaped the West African region, this is what I see, even to the extent that we see that President Akufo-Addo mentioned it at the US Africa Summit, which happened just a couple of weeks ago. And I think this is the misreading of the situation when you look at what President Akufo-Addo was doing. Of course, all of them, plus the African Union and ECOWAS, have misread the situation, that they are not attending to the root cause of the problem. And countries like Burkina Faso have been complaining about the insecurity. And we instead need to come together and help Burkina Faso to stabilize their country, to stamp out insecurity in the country. And if we have not done that and they find their own solution, then we don't have a right as a people to come and put sanctions on them and then demonize them and even report them to neo-colonialists. I believe that we instead have to come into dialogue as Africans and implement that African solutions to African problems instead of involving external actors on the continent. So this is what I see, about the coups in West Africa and how they have shaped the region.
Thank you, Kwame, for that. Indeed, we have done, just to remind our audience, a video as it happens about Burkina Faso, Mali. We have invited people from there and analyze the situation back then. But of course, as the year ends, it's important, and as time passes, how that shaped the continent.